Have you ever devoted a ton of time, energy, and money to something in your life, and then you found that it's not working, that the problem you thought you were trying to solve, you've been devoting all of this energy to trying to solve this problem, maybe for days or weeks or months, or maybe even years in some cases, and now you're finding that it's possibly a dead end, but you don't want to let it go. Well, welcome to the Sunk Cost Fallacy, or it's a type of confirmation bias that occurs as well, which is that we often, as humans, the way our brain works is that we are inclined to try to stick with the decision that we've made if we spent a lot of money and time on it. Now, we know that marketers and others use this as a strategy. If we can get someone, for example, who is looking to buy a car, and we get them to spend a lot of time at the dealership looking and trying, and a lot of time and energy and effort and trying to make it happen, it leads to people being more inclined to potentially follow through with the purchase because they've already invested so much time and energy. And so that can be used as a strategy to try to get us to purchase something, but it's also something that we just naturally do to ourselves as we put a lot of time and energy and effort into something. So for those of you who are watching this and you're treasure hunters, this is absolutely a fallacy or a kind of confirmation bias that we want to be aware of and try to avoid. So is there a way to avoid this? Is there a way to prevent it from taking over when you've done it? Well, I have for you 5 options that you can consider. And these are all drawn from different research articles, and I don't claim to be a psychologist or a cognitive psychologist, but this is my attempt to try to learn for my own sake and then to offer some ideas for others. I use these kinds of strategies in my work, in my life, and of course when I'm working on things like treasure hunts too. So the first one is decision reframing. And you want to regularly ask yourself, if I were starting fresh, would I still choose this path? And so the key is that you're regularly asking yourself this and trying to be really honest with yourself. So you're kind of having this internal conversation. Yes, you've spent time on it. Maybe you spent an hour, 2, 3, 4 on this, but then you want to just pause and ask that question. If I were starting fresh, would I still choose this path? You do that often enough, you learn to be honest with yourself, and you can help avoid this fallacy or this bias. Second one is the objective record keeping. You want to track facts, clues, and information that you're gathering and progress in writing so that you can separate your emotion from the evidence. And this is something that comes into a lot of fallacies and a lot of cognitive biases is we become emotionally attached to something because of the time and energy and effort, or it was just an emotionally exciting path that we were on. And so objective record keeping, where you're not writing your emotions, you're simply writing the facts and the observations, then you can check yourself. And on occasion you go back and you review those notes. It helps you step a little bit away and add a little more objectivity. It's not perfect, but it can help. Third one I have jotted down here is structured decision checkpoints. So you want to schedule regular moments to pause and just critically reevaluate your approach. And I know it sounds simple, but it's really effective. So if you're going to be spending a lot of time on something, you want to make this decision before you actually start. So say you're going to be spending a couple of hours on something, then every 10 or 15 minutes, you want to have a structured decision checkpoint. Or if it's a longer scale project that lasts weeks or months or years, you want to do this on a weekly basis or a regular basis, where you're just going to pause and critically just reevaluate your approach. What works with this approach? What doesn't? And by doing that more regularly, again, you can give yourself some objectivity. Fourth one is to get some uninvolved feedback from someone else. You really want someone who can play a devil's advocate and get input from someone who doesn't have that emotional investment in it. They haven't put all the time and the energy in it, so they can look at it in a way that you can't. They can see things more in a more neutral, dispassionate way, and maybe you need or want more than one person, and invite those people. And then another one, and the fifth one that I'll suggest, is a kind of future-focused reframing. Remind yourself that cutting losses early prevents wasting even more time and resources later. So you want to pause and acknowledge it, because oftentimes the thing that's fascinating about this fallacy is you sort of know it, but you're not really willing to admit it to yourself because of all that time and energy. And it's a little exhausting to think that you have to start over after doing all of this. And so if you do future focused framing, saying, okay, I could keep going this path for another 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, but then what? Imagine yourself walking on this trail and we're going to do these regular checks to see if you're going the right direction. That's good, right? Now imagine you didn't do that and you're going along and all of a sudden you've put 8 hours on this trail and it's not leading you to the place that you want to go, and you're lost. Well, you may be tempted to just kind of keep following the trail because you've put so much time and energy in it, but then you can pause and remind yourself, well, how would I feel if I did another 3 hours or 4 hours, and then I would be hiking through the middle of the night if I don't turn around or cut my losses or something like that. Well, that's what we want to do here. So these 5 approaches are easier said than done, because this is a skill that we develop. We all fall into logical fallacies and cognitive biases in our life and in our work and our relationships and in the games that we play and the treasure hunts that we go on and other things like that. So what's key here, though, is practicing these kinds of preventative measures on a regular basis. And the more you use them, the more you practice them, the better you'll get at them and the better results that you get from them. So hope you find this useful. Love to hear your comments. Thanks.